Duke's been going player by player through their entire roster, it seems, sort of doing their introductory first look posts. And next up on the list over the weekend was Dame Sarr, the Italian prospect who was long rumored to commit to Illinois, ended up spurning Illinois, or Illinois went sideways one way or the other. Maybe it was mutual. And in the end, he ends up a member of the Brotherhood, a key member of the Brotherhood. If you listen to people who know Duke and talk it and live it, they have high expectations for Dame Sarr, potentially a starter, potentially a one and done, one of the best players on this team. We got 60 seconds of Dame Sarr on the microphone, hearing him talk, and also seeing how he's been working in practice, and even some clips from 5-on-5 type settings here. So, what are your early impressions of Duke's dynamic wing, Dame Sarr?
Very first thought I had when I pulled the video up was he kind of looks like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yep, I can see it.
Um, the second thing is the same thing that happens every time one of these Duke videos pops up. I'm assuming that's a chapel that they walk in and they like dribble the basketball. I just want a video doing that. It's fire every time. It could be anybody that does it, but that little hallway that they stand in the beginning of these videos and then dribble really quickly is just elite. Um, I mean, he freak athlete. I think the bulk of the video is him dunking. I don't know that they showed him doing a ton else in the 60 seconds. Freak athlete. I think he speaks like professionally, like well, you know what I mean? Like I don't think you're gonna worry about him having any like LaMelo Ball interviews, where it's just like what just happened. Um, and then honestly, like if I'm being completely honest, and I won't take away from Dame Sarr, what amazes me about these first looks Duke does, how many of them are just Cam Boozer making plays? Like in every single person's first look, Cam Boozer makes a sick play in it, and he has an and one dunk in this one. And I love Dame, but every single first look gets me a little bit more excited for Cam.
Yep, I think that's one of my main takeaways too. And athleticism was the story of all of the footage of Dame. So we can talk to that in a moment, or I'll speak to it. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of teams. You watch some of the stuff they're putting out in the summer. I mean, we've seen Louisville clips, we've seen Michigan State clips. Illinois has been quiet. Purdue's put a lot out. BYU's put a lot out. UConn's putting some stuff out. North Carolina will never put anything out. They don't want anyone to know that they play basketball. But Duke, there are teams in that list I just went through that as they start to release more, I get more confused on what they'll be. It's like really good player stuff. That looks good. Okay, sweet. How does it all fit together? Duke is one of the teams based on every little thing they've dropped this summer. It's coming together. I see exactly what the vision. The vision is Cam Boozer be a point forward that no one can handle. And then the vision is to surround him with all the perfect things he needs. He needs some shooters. He needs some athletes that can back cut, that are high IQ, that are going to finish. He needs a little bit of a big man that can step outside and shoot it a little bit and rim protect on defense. They have all these things, and now they just have to mix it in. Dame, to me, his role seems pretty clear to me. Now, I'm not talking minutes or starter or bench or whatever, but his role seems pretty clear to me in the fact that he is the athlete on this team. And with no disrespect intended towards anybody else on the Duke team, Nick Kamenia, who else do we got? Sebastian Wilkins, who I'm super high on. He's had some loud athletic moments too. Caleb Foster's really good. Darren Harris is a shooter. There's a lot of guys that I like on this team. Dame Sarr is the only like NBA ready athlete right now. He is an NBA physically gifted player. That's what he is. And I don't know if the other stuff's going to be there for him to be a lottery pick. It might be because the shot looks pretty good too. But I just think with a team this loaded, there's a very obvious impact role for someone as bouncy as Dame Sarr is when you pair him with a player as high IQ as Cam Boozer. He's going to get a bunch of dunks off of backdoor cuts. He's going to be able to just kind of be in the dunker spot and float a little bit. He's going to get out in transition and run like crazy and be the recipient of those types of kick ahead passes. He's got to be an impact defender. I don't feel like we saw a ton defensively in these clips, but that's okay. And I think, even though they don't really have a point guard, on this team, I think Dame Sarr is one of the only guys on the team that's out there to be a play finisher. Because we
Mhm.
talk about how they're going to be point guard by committee. They're going to let Cam Boozer do it. Caden Boozer's obviously also a point guard. Caleb Foster. Everybody can kind of pass at their position here. Even Big Pat is like a good passer. Dame Sarr to me, he has one clip in this video where he passes and Cam Boozer finishes. I don't really want Dame Sarr passing. I want Dame Sarr finishing off of everybody else. I don't want him running pick and roll ball handler reps. But when you're as big of an athlete as he is, he's going to be the recipient of some highlight plays all season long.
Yeah, I think he's going to do a lot of both because I mean, like you said, he's a freak athlete, and you want him on the other side of that. But I also think what makes him a lottery pick is that playmaking ability too, right? Where he's kind of like I don't want to call him a point forward because he's not that big. He's no Cam Boozer, but like if you're drafting like a shooting guard or a small forward, you're drafting him knowing he can handle the rock a little bit. And I think that like improves his stock. Kind of n not quite CJ McCollum, but like kind of like a CJ McCollum to an extent. Um, I don't know. I think this Duke team massively underrated. And I think that's just what the Boozer last name brings, where it's like the Boozers are boring. Carlos was boring. Cam and Caden just boringly beat AJ every single time they played, it felt like. But like no one ever talked about it. They would talk about like, I think I even watched the game. AJ had like 45. Cam had like a 30-point triple double. Cam won. I left only talking about AJ because AJ had like two dunks that were sick. And it's just a little bit of the way they go about it is boring and it keeps you out of that spotlight. And every single first look, I'm like, this team is firmly going to be in the spotlight. And ooh, this is going to sound crazy. Are we sure they're worse than last year's Duke team? I'm not sure that I think they're that much worse, if worse at all, than last year's Duke team. And last year's Duke team was one of the most hyped teams in the country going into the season.
If it doesn't feel like they take even a minor step back, that's crazy. And it's a testament to Shire because Cooper and Khan were just so good. Obviously, Proctor was the perfect vet with them. Sion. I think the difference, honestly, and I'm not saying Duke should have done anything differently, but I think the difference is last year they did make some championship level portal ads. Like Sion and even Mason Gillis were guys that came in for 1 year with a sense of urgency. And we'll see about this year's team's sense of urgency, but they are missing those guys on paper, right? And it makes sense. You don't want to get in the way of a guy like Dame Sarr and Kamenia and Sebastian Wilkins. I'm not saying they should have recruited other guys over them, but to me, that's one glaring difference between last year and this year. And I mean, look, if the difference overall is just Sion James isn't here, this team's still nasty. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I do the thing where I make it all about me again.
Yeah, I would love that.
It's one of my favorite things. My favorite college basketball team ever. Do you know what team that is? I have pictures up of it, multiple in this office right now.
Is it John Wall or no, excuse me, Fox Malik Monk, Kentucky?
No, that's a good one. But no, Trey Burke. Trey Burke,
Hmm.
Nick Stauskas, Glenn Robinson the third, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Mitch McGary when he wasn't high, and then Jordan Morgan when he was high. Um, so what I think Dame is going to look like this year, I think it's the GR3 role from that Michigan team,
Mm.
where Glenn Robinson the third was actually the highest rated recruit on that team. Trey Burke and Hardaway were like 2 and 3 stars. Stauskas wasn't supposed to be an impact player. McGarry was a big recruit, but he fell a little bit. GR3 was like the sixth best player in the class, had all these expectations, highest recruit Michigan ever had. He got to Michigan, it was like, oh, we never run shit for him. We never run shit for him. But he still gets 12 points a game because what the hell can you do with that athleticism? And oh, by the way, he can stand in the corner and shoot too. But we don't have to run shit for him. We can run it for Trey. We can run it for Nick. We can run big stuff with McGarry, who can pass. GR3 is just going to catch lobs and get his 12 and 6 by rim running and being who he is. To me, that's Dame. I straight up don't think Duke runs plays for him. There will be times that he scores, but like you're going to run shit for Cam. You're going to run shit for, to me, even Kamenia when he's in the game. Caleb Foster's going to be driving action on this team. Big Pat's going to be used as a passer and a guy that can do stuff.
Yeah.
Dame Sarr is just going to be out there to finish plays, and he's going to be one of the best play finishers in the sport. He'll probably shoot well from three. To me, I really think like 12 and 6 is in the cards for him, but it's a 12 and 6 that feels very cerebral off of what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, I think that's a good comparison. But I think one of the Glenn Robinsons, I think it's Glenn Robinson the third. I know one of the Glenn Robinsons is playing in the big three. I'm pretty sure it's GR3, and he's still kind of like got a little athleticism to him. But I think Dame Dame can play that role very well and be a one and done. Kind of from the sense of like, did Man Man overwhelm you at Duke? Not really. Like Man Man had flashes of like, yo, this is the guy, right? But it was very few and far between. But Man Man's ability to play next to Khan and Coop is what got him drafted so high. And Dame's ability to play next to a Cam, um, you know, Comenia, Sebastian Wilkins, Big Pat, Caden Foster. We haven't even spoken about Isaiah Evans, by the way, who I think is a bucket. And it's like his ability to play next to all those guys, play off of them, is going to get him drafted to the next level. So I think that's the perfect role for him to showcase his skills.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be fun to see how Shire balances all this because he's got a lot of options to work with.